Hey guys, and welcome back to the first live stream of the 2026 season. I'm kind of hoping to make these more regular at around this 7:30 or so time on the Wednesday night, if possible, depending on schedule, just so that we can have a chat about SuperCoach and fantasy. I thought I would jump on tonight just because we are leading up to the season within 24 hours of the, I guess, first lockout of the year, with the Richmond versus Carlton game already having team sheets. We'll go through them and I guess the implications of some players being dropped or omitted. And then we'll also go through just some general final fantasy and SuperCoach thoughts. You'll also see tomorrow on my channel, at least, a little breakdown on the locks, I think, across both platforms, because there will be slightly a difference there in terms of locks, just because of player pricing, like you would see with the likes of Hayden Young and Philippou being a little bit cheaper on SuperCoach than Fantasy. So there's a differing output or outlook on them across different platforms. But yeah, we'll go through that tomorrow on both of them. And then I think maybe do a rookie video as we start to get teams named for that. And hopefully, I'm not exactly certain about it, whether or not we get a special guest or two on, depending on how long this goes, because obviously other people have different things on. But hopefully we can get a fellow couple of YouTubers on to talk all things footy as well. But let's jump into all of the questions that you guys have. Remember to like this live stream. Turn the notification bells on when you do subscribe, so that you know when I upload in the future. But anyway, let's jump into these questions, and then once we get through them, we'll go to the Carlton Richmond team lineups and look at that. And I guess as well, we'll do a little bit of an overview of round zero, or a review of round zero, just talking through that alongside you guys, because there are some different things that have popped up, I guess, in the last couple of days that I maybe missed in my initial video that was recorded on the Monday. But anyway, let's jump into these. So we have got Brisbane Bloods here. What are your thoughts on these this rookie on-field structure? I'm guessing this is just Grill, Smith, Ford, I'm guessing this is more SuperCoach based in Brisbane Bloods, or is this this fantasy as well? Given Blackiston's price point, I could see it both ways actually. Now thinking about it, the Blackiston's actually cheaper in fantasy, so this is probably a fantasy question. Blackiston, Jakes, Carroll, Grill, Smith, Ford, Marshall. I'm guessing, are you, and I want to ask, and I'll ask questions in and around this. Are you, this must mean that the likes of McAndrew is R3, I'm guessing, because it is rookie priced. And so unless you've just almost considered him a mid-price, because we've got the news now that he's going to debut for Adelaide in round one, and Tobin Murray, I believe it is, or the Murray from the likes of Adelaide is going to partner him in the ruck, which is no Riley O'Brien. So I'm guessing by that, and I just want to almost put feeler questions out here just to sort of get your logic here, is that, it is Toby Murray, sorry. That he is R3. Yep, that makes sense. That lines up with you having that rookie price point. I'm guessing you sort of classified a rookie as sub 400K, I would say, given that Blackiston is 399. So I just want to have these feeler questions here to sort of understand what your classifications are for it. So Blackiston, Jakes, that is the two rookies I'm looking at my current squad. That's the two rookies I have on field in the defender line. I prefer Jakes over the likes of a Sarong, just because Jakes was scoring in each quarter, whereas Sarong was more first half, and then Sydney absolutely gunned it in the second half, and he scored, 7 points, something like that. He barely touched the footy. think he might have even blanked in the third quarter. Let me just double check this here for that game there to check what he did. I know it was a dramatic change. In the third quarter, he blanked in and went 18 in the final quarter. So he had a 49 at halftime, was it? No, sorry, 54 at halftime, and then was on to 72 at full time. I'm getting my fantasy and SuperCoach confused. So that's why he's, I think, off field, and I think that's on the bench, and I think you would agree with that, would you, Brisbane Bloods? So that's the defender line. I like the 4 rookie setup, 2 on field, 2 on bench of Blackstone, Jakes, and then on the bench, Lindsay and Sarong. And then you've got in the midfield, Carroll, Grill, Smith. I can get behind Grill and Smith. And I'm guessing, and I want to ask this into another question here, is that I'm guessing you've got an English Grundy or 2 out of English Grundy or Jackson in that 1 and 2 spot. Because if you don't, then I think you could spend up more in that midfield there. So I'm guessing that's what you've done there to get that third rookie mid on field in Carroll, which I don't know if there's ways in which you can get around it. I would, because I don't know about Carroll's job security. There's been a lot more questions about it. English and DC, yeah. So that's what I knew it was. I put out those 3 guys, and DC, probably I should have mentioned him. I knew it was 2 big primos in that ruck line, because I was going to say, if you had Visentini, if you were doing the Visentini McAndrew, which I'm currently in my side doing, then I would say that you could spend up in that midfield and get that Brewer into M6, because I think that's where you can go. I think you can go basically, I think most teams will set up with 4 or so 1 million plus players in the midfield, then Parrish, M5, Bruin, M6, and then a Grill and Smith. But if you're spending up in the ruck line with the DC and English and betting on those 2 being 2 out of the top 3 rucks, then I think you can do that Carroll pick. But I think you're going to have to be really, really on the ball with Carroll in terms of 300K in the bank, but prefer to use it on rookies that pop after round 1. I'm just thinking, because there isn't anyone in that 400 to 500K range in the midfield that we all like. I'm just thinking, how can you use that? Can you get Carroll? Because you can get Carroll up with 300K to anyone effectively 632K, right? So, so with 632K, you could get someone in there. I understand your thought process of leaving a lot of cash there, because we've known in the past that getting the optimal rookies in can be a little bit tough in round 1 and 2. So doing that is probably the best scenario. So I can understand that midfield setup. And then forward line, I currently don't actually have Marshall in my side. I know that he was in my side. I'm pretty sure he was in my side in the video that I did. And then I changed it all because I watched the Ball Boys video on rookies and how we should be approaching that, and changed that. And I'll go through that philosophy as well, and sort of why, and explain it a little bit as well. And that changed that up in terms of Marshall went out of my side and in came round 0 players. So Robertson is the F6 that I have. I'm pretty confident you probably have him on your bench, Brisbane Bloods. Marshall, if you have the funds, Marshall, I understand the point of him being there, but I'm going to say this. I think Ty Gallop could, he's at 263K, and if he goes 50 or 60 again, he goes up 80K. He will almost close, he will half the gap between him and the likes of Marshall, especially if Marshall's in a bad role. He will half that gap quite easily in round 1. So that's why that's one of the players that's currently in my side. So I wonder if you can take the 130K from Marshall to go down to Gallop, and then use that 400 odd K. And could you potentially, no, but then you're knocking another rookie in the defender line off the field. Is there a 700K rookie midfielder or something that we can go to. Let's actually, I'll share my screen here to show you sort of the thought process that I'm going through here. Is it this one here? I hope it is. At stage there we go. So I'm looking at this, and you'll see what I was sort of talking through there. And if I go to midfielders and then go 700k or so, you got Harley Reid. No one wants him, so there's nothing there. And then the 500 to 600k range, you got Ralston, Finn O'Sullivan. Could probably take a punt somewhere there, but I don't actually like the options as much there. Maybe you take a punt in the forward line. I think the forward line, you could get another potential. You could take another potential swing on like a Murphy Reed or someone of that ilk. If you look at my side, if you were to take a punt on like a Murphy Reed, put him in there, put one of the Sheasel or something into the midfield, and then that's how you do it. You could do that as well. I would probably much rather that than a Marshall or something of that, even though Murphy Reed has a little bit of just you're hoping for match or progression, as I don't think he gets the midfield role. But anyway, I think I went into enough depth there. And then we get to this next question here from John. Thoughts on Windsor? Windsor's actually been in and out my side. I think if Dan Houston didn't pop completely, you would see the likes of Windsor in this spot here, in this D4 spot. I do think that he's not going to exactly light it up like we're going to see a Flanders in that same midfield role, similar-ish price point, I guess, to a certain extent. Or like I think Rochelle will beat him to the pop. I think Budrick will outscore him even in a different role, but similar price point. Bruin as well, you could almost say similar price point, different role. They'll all outdo him just because I don't think he's got the best junior numbers. We've sort of seen that. So I don't know. He will definitely score more than 80 or so, but still scoring an 80 priced at, what's he even priced at? 52 maybe? Windsor, let's just see, 54 priced at, if he goes 50, if he goes 80 priced at 54, sorry, he's going to do really well. So he's one that I think just misses out just because round zero, we saw so many pop scores. And so I think that I'd rather go for the round zero in Houston, who has already got basically a minus 21 break even on his 701k price tag, which means that if he goes 80, he goes up 88k or so. And I don't know if we have a good link, I would say, to a fantasy price projector. I've seen one good one for SuperCoach so far, but I haven't seen one for fantasy. So if anyone can link something in the chat as well, if there is one, I want to bring up the SuperCoach one if I can in a second here. But yeah, there was a good fantasy one that I saw at least. SuperCoach one that I saw that I'm just trying to grab up in some other. Where is it here? But they did really one that I liked the look of. So I just want to grab it up here if I can find it. Where the heck is it? But yeah, there's no real fancy price projector that I can find that I like the look of just yet. But yeah, that's that with that one. But yeah, Windsor I do like the look of. And then here we go with Rolling Lockout Pod. What are your thoughts on McCurchin now that he is fit? The words he's training with the mids and might play there. This is one that I've definitely gone back and forth on quite heavily, and it would break up a lot of my sort of structure. It would mean that I'd have to move on from a Visentini or something to probably fix it up. My initial thought was go up to a Zorko or something of that, because if we look at Zorko, I think he's one that's going to do really well this year. And he's priced at 1.065, but he's got that round 2 buy, which is a little bit easier to offset in this, I guess, field as well. And getting off of McCurcher probably really helps the round 12 buy, because we know that the round 12 buy, if we just look at it here, get rid of those ones and then go to here, we can see round 12, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got quite a lot already. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then McCurcher would be probably 5 by that point. given that I suspect a lot of these guys like Rochelle, Visentini, McAndrew, Blamiers, Lombard will have moved on by that point. But yeah, that'll be one that I probably make a decision on tomorrow night at probably 6:30, because I can see myself potentially also going down to like a Windsor or something, a Windsor, and then that would give me an extra 260k, and an extra 260k. I'd probably go Walsh up to Dacos, to be honest with you. Get Dacos in, probably get some other or potentially get something else going, because I have a feeling that McKercher, Walsh, and Visentini are probably the three guys that I'm a little bit iffy about, I would say. And there's my not choke points, but movement points, I would say. If one domino falls, they're probably all going to fall with those guys. And then also could look at actually just upgrading Steele, which if I go to the likes of Anderson, I could actually go Steele to Anderson, which on the round 3 bye would be a little bit hectic, but I feel like I can cover that a lot better with this setup actually, because by then I'll probably have another rookie forward line in the forwards. And then also I can cover it pretty well elsewhere as well with Lindsay and other guys. So I feel a little bit able to cover that round there if I actually go to Anderson. Whether that Anderson pick goes and then going... See, if McKercher... Looking at this now, just thinking out loud here, if McKercher goes to a Zorko, then I have a feeling I'll be happy to go Steele up to an Anderson, and then a Walsh potentially stays, and then that would mean potentially Visentini down. You can see almost that I've now thought about it. McKercher, Steele, Walsh, and Visentini are the guys that I like, that I think will potentially drop out of my side. Sorry, I'm responding to something else here. But yeah, those are the 4 positions that I think could potentially change out of my side coming into the last day of preseason. And then what do you think of McAndrew, Visentini, R2, R3? I like it. I cannot see another ruck that I like the look of in either the mid-price or rookie range. So that's why I think those two will do really well. I think that they do get the first at least 3 weeks. And the first 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, they get us through the sort of early buys of like an English and stuff like that. But also in 3 or 4 weeks, if we just do, and this is where I really wanted to find that site that I was looking for that had the good old trusty, here it is. We can do, it's at least on the SuperCoach side of things. But this is the site that I was looking for here for the likes of, let's just look at McAndrew here and look at his price and what he will do. I know that this is SuperCoach at least, but we can sort of look at this here and go, let's just say he scores a 75 and then a 75 again and then a 75 again. Just doing plain and simple, he goes up 71k very, very quickly. Now, there is DFS, which does have, I think, a slightly iffy price projector at the moment, but we can do that as well, in which we go McAndrew here and then go, let's just say he goes 75. You'll see by the time in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 rounds, he's already at 451k, which is up 165k with the round to go. If he gets 4 games, that would be potentially somewhere around about that 220k price rise, which 220k with Visentini going, say, 80s. Visentini, I spelled that wrong. Dante Visentini, yep. Then him going 80s, he gets up to 627k with potential round to spare as well, which might get him another, say McAndrew's 500k and Visentini's 650. You're almost there already, potentially, with a couple of not downward games in terms of the likes of a Grundy or a Gorn, but Grundy's 1.12 million. If he goes in and around this price point, he's not going to move. But Sherry's going to drop through the floor, I suspect. but one of these guys is probably going to be in and around that price point. And if you have 100K, 150K anyway, that's where you can get those guys at 1.1 million and almost start the upgrade process there. So that's why I really do like that combo there of McAndrew and Vicentini. Going through here, this is a lot of just Brisbane Bloods answering my questions in that segment. I do like this from John. Just delete your team and start again. I feel the I don't know whether it's just being a YouTuber as well and doing this and whether that's just the name of the game, but I do feel the pressure now that it's like you're happy that preseason starts, but now you're getting to the sort of nitty end of it. I'm like, oh no, this is the side. If it all fails, what? And then again, it's like a whole year wasted almost in a way. So it definitely does feel like I don't want. I want to go back to the early preseason where I had time. Whereas now it's just like, it's go time. Going through here, Lee said, could you start 2 Primo Rucks and McAndrew R3? You could. That's probably a decent option. But yeah, I'm not going to do it just because I think there's value in not starting those rucks, even though we don't have necessarily an R3. That is nominal, massive value. But I think the rucks will drop in price most likely, or should do a little bit. And I think that the other lines won't be affected as much. So that's why I'm going with that sort of approach. And then Kobe, I'd wait and see, especially with uncertainty of role. You can always go Houston up to him. Yeah, and this is just sort of on the talk of a couple minutes ago with the likes of Kircher and the choke points in my team, I would call it. I think that I'll probably change this, knowing me, and probably change this. And I just want to see how much cash do I have left in the bank in SuperCoach. SuperCoach, a lot easier to get up to the likes of a Dane Zorko, and I just want to do, and I may even do something of the line off the lines of Hayden Young to get to as a Vicentini in SuperCoach. I just need to think through it because there's been some rumors of Hayden Young injury, but I do like the look of and I'll probably also change Fonte, to be honest with you, after what we've heard. But yeah, I think I will change McKercher, but I haven't done it yet. I've been preoccupied with a lot of other stuff that I haven't touched my team on Tuesday or Wednesday so far. I don't think, other than changing the rookies and Vicentini, I don't think I've changed the major part of my side in the last couple of days. So then we get to this question about Matt Kennedy. Thoughts on Matt Kennedy as a big pod practice match in round 0. CBAs have jumped from 55 to 65, scored 110, 112 and 115. The problem with Matt Kennedy, and maybe this is just me falling back on this is a bad habit. If we go to Matt Kennedy, I always remember him as almost the forward guy. And we go here and we look at this and we go, he's never done anything that's going to be damaging enough in the midfield, to be worthwhile in the midfield. 96 last year from 56% CBAs suggests to me that we're looking at a couple of outlier results for him. So I'm more under the assumption that he's not going to have 30 disposals a game and he's not going to have 19 kicks per game. So that's probably going to dip down. And that's where he falls away quite heavily. So that's why, for me, it's a no. I can understand why some people will be like, yep, he's a go. But for me, he's up 6.5 kicks per game in the 1 game sample size. And we saw him have 28 in the practice game against the Hawks, who looked horrendous. But yeah, I do think that he is a guy that will trick a couple people based on preseason. And then again, he will probably, but yeah, he's probably going to be a guy that just drops back to 95 or so. but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he's not a guy that's really piqued my interest, I would say, after what he's done in round 0. Website says Dersma is injured. That is interesting. Will Dersma... Wait a second. Dersma. Not injured on that. Let me see if he is injured on this. I've spelled it wrong, have I? Willem Dersma, is he injured at all? What's going on? No news there. Let's see. And then go to injury list. I don't think I've seen anything about Will Dersma being injured. No, I don't know. Unless you're talking about a different Dersma. The likes Brisbane Bloods question here. And then Lee's talking about Colby. Colby playing more midfield time. Hopefully he still gets the half-back minutes. The interesting thing about Colby playing midfield, and maybe we're so in tune with him playing off that half-back flank in the wing, is I don't know if it's going to be too bad of a thing if he actually plays on ball. I mean, we haven't really actually seen it. This game was a horror show of a game for him where he had 19% CBAs. He's had a 54% CBAs for a 54 in his first year, but now his third year. And we know what he was one of the best junior scorers that I have seen in his 111.7 in 9 games. We talk about Dacos in the midfield, and he played 4 games or whatever for in his senior year. He went 136, 5 games, 136. So bigger pedigree. But Colby was one of the biggest ball winners out of his junior class. And they had a stacked junior class, did the Allies. This was the year that they won it. And you can see that they had Colby, they had Riley Sanders, they had Caden Cleary, they had someone else as well in their midfield. But yeah, they had the whole All-Australian midfield, it felt like, that year. But Colby's one that I keep on sort of going back and forth and being like, do I just give it a game to sort of see how he goes or whatnot? Because I know the scoring potential as a junior. And so him even on ball could actually be a good thing, because that'll just get him in and around the play and get him a lot of handballs, which he probably doesn't get too much of. Whereas when he's lingering out on a wing, which we've seen in the past year, that's where he really struggles. So if he's not on a wing, that will be a really good thing. But I'll have to look at the training reports to say, well, what midfield role is he on? And then what are your thoughts on Richards after how well he did in round 0? To be honest with you, I don't know which Richards you're actually talking about. That would be Ed. The thing that turns me against going for Ed Richards at the moment is that round 3 bye. And also the fact that I don't know what's going to go on with that Doggies midfield. And I actually what I should have done when I was answering the Matt Kennedy question was go to the Dogs midfield and show you one stat that I just wanted to show. Look at the likes of Riley Sanders here, had a 42, a 38, and a 30. And that coincided with the game that Matt Kennedy had 42%, 81, 73. That was because Bontempelli was missing. Was there ever a game that the likes of Matthew Kennedy played when Riley Sanders and also Joel Frazier had deep midfield minutes? Doesn't actually look like it. But you can see here Joel Frazier as well in these back end of the games, mid-40s, high 50s for the likes of Kennedy. So I don't like Kennedy or Ed Richards. Well, Ed Richards I think is fine. He'll get his 75% CBAs. I don't like Kennedy. I don't want to start Bontempelli at the moment. No to a Frazier, because you've got the likes of, in that midfield coming back, a Riley Sanders, a Frazier, Kennedy, potentially a Treloar, a Bontempelli, all fighting out alongside Libba. What was that, 6 guys or 5 guys for 220, 230%? How is that going to spread out at all? So, yeah. That's why I think I'm against it. And then we've got here, Dersma is injured on the fantasy website. That is not a good sign. Is Woodrick a lock? Seems to have a decent role. Yep. I would say he's a lock. I would say he's a lock because he's a minus 27. And if he goes and scores a 60 odd, he goes up 75K. Just in fairness, you can probably track back maybe 10 minutes or so, and I do talk about the likes of Windsor after, I do definitely talk about Windsor probably at 7:40 or so, so that's about maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes ago. I do mention Windsor if you're able to track back. I don't know. If you're not able to, then I can quickly go through it in a minute or two. But yeah, Budrick is a lock, just that break even. He's going to just rocket up in price. He's not obviously going to do 100 each week, as I expect the likes of Bailey Dale to get back to that number one in that back line for the Dogs. So I don't expect him to do that. But I always sort of said, and some people that if Core is in this stream, I don't think he is at the moment. We've had private conversation about him, and I said I like Budrick because all he has to do is go 75. Go 70, 75. I'll be absolutely happy with it. And it was something I was actually tracking in the preseason game. I was like, oh, he's about 50 midway through the third. Is that going to and I know that we try to hold against going for scores, but I sort of knew his role, being that halfback, not really that lockdown-ish, not really that, more of that third or so distributor. So all through preseason, I was going, oh, he's right on the edge of being a good pick. I want to probably see another 5-10 points of sort of upside in those preseason games or whatever. The counted one, the one that was scores were tracked really well, the one that the other ones and stuff like that, as well as Bailey Dale being in doubt and stuff like that. I was always just like, he feels good, but I was never really one to just go, I'm just going to gun for it and go for it and sort of not listen to everyone else. I was sort of all a little bit on the fence with it, but I knew that there was a lot of scoring potential just off his Gold Coast days in the same role, doing about 75 or so. So, that's why I think Budrick for me is a lock on both platforms. I mean, he's priced at 54 in fantasy. Priced at no, he's not priced at 54. He's priced at 48, I think it is in fantasy. Let's actually just check this and go here and check what he's priced at. But obviously he is priced up a lot, or underpriced now that he's got that first game in. He is priced at 48 and 45. So we've got quite a lot of discount there on Budrick for what he did. And so, yeah, if we just do the trusty dusty price projector and go and look at this, and this is how I can actually check this. If we go 66, that doesn't feel right. So let's lock in that 94, and then go 62. So if we go 104 and then go 62, puts him at 593, which would be 87K. So that's a little bit above. So this price projector is probably a little bit above what it should be. But it's not too bad. But then again, if he goes the next round after that, say he goes like a 80, which we'll put down as say a 72, because that'll get us back on track. If he goes an 80, we're projecting that he goes up 96K. Now, if he goes 75, which I sort of said was around about the range I wanted, he goes up 92K. So he's going up somewhere, if he just goes normal 75 to 80, he's going up somewhere around that 90 to 100K range. And then the week after that, if he goes again and scores another 75, he goes up a further 36K. So you're talking, he could enter his buy in round 3, because this is round 1, round 2. He could enter his buy 630 odd K, very, very realistically. And if he was to absolutely power off again with another mega score, he could enter at 650K. So I think he's one that we've got to take the money that he's got there, that he's effectively already made, and take it and run with it. Let's check this. How much will McAndrew go up with 100 score in round 1? McAndrew, and let's just do this. I don't expect him to do this at all, but if he did, he'd go up 57k and he'd be very, very, very good for the next week with cash gen. He'd go up pretty much a normal ruck game. He'd go up 70k again. So not expecting him to go up and score 100 week 1. Who's he even got? He's got DC, doesn't he? Yeah. He's got to play against Cameron, which I don't think is the best ruck matchup from what I remember. DV matchups. Nope, that's not the run. And I'm going to have to log in for my login to grab it. So let me just quickly do that for you guys to grab this for you guys. So let me quickly grab that up. So I can show you the ruck matchups there. So let me grab this here and do that for McAndrew and go DV matchups. Is this the right one? Season pack again, stupid. But anyway, defense first position maybe. Here we go. Last 10 for the ruck line. And obviously things will change slightly, but Collingwood were basically a minus 1.454. So yeah, that's basically a neutral matchup. I don't also know how it will change given the ruck rules and how that will impact ones, because I have a feeling that some of these matchups will dramatically change with the ruck rules in terms of their scoring ability for other rucks. And so what are your thoughts on avoiding round 12 bye players? Let's do the good old round 12 again and grab this up and look at round 12. So we have got, and I should have just done it this way actually to show you guys sort of what I'm doing when I'm looking at these mid-video and stuff like that. We've got Adelaide, Gold Coast, North Melbourne, and Port Adelaide. Adelaide, we're probably looking at a Jordan Dawson and also at that point of the round 12 bye, because we're going to probably have moved on from McAndrew at that point. So you're looking at Dawson, potentially a Laird comes into consideration, and Rochelle if he pops off. So that's already 3 guys that we're looking at. And I'm actually just going to grab a pen and paper just to show and add up how many basically top 10 in each line there is of each players. So with regard to that, as we said, we've got Adelaide having the likes of Dawson, the likes of Laird, and potentially Rochelle. So that's already 3 guys that we're looking at. And then we move over to the Gold Coast Suns, and they have an absolute bucket load. Let's just look at, I don't want that at all. Let's go over to Gold Coast. They're probably not going to have a defender that I can think of. The midfield, you're going to have Anderson. I don't think Rao is going to be noteworthy this year, especially coming off an injury. Should probably just look at players here and grab up the likes of, get rid of that, and grab up the likes of the Gold Coast Suns. If we look at averaging players from 2025, hopefully this will help us a little bit. You can see Anderson there. I don't think anyone else. I think Petrarca will be up in and around that for their bye. So there's 2 guys there. I don't think Rao's going to be important, but he could be. But I think with the rule changes and stuff, I think his tackling might go down just slightly. So that's 2 of the teams done. Then we got North Melbourne, which North Melbourne, you're going to have a Sheasel. You're going to also have potentially as Sherry by that point. We'll see how his scoring regulates by that point. And then let me just also look for any others from North Melbourne. I cannot think of many, to be completely honest with you, that are guys that we'd want or potentially look at. You could potentially also look at a McKercher potentially being there for at that point in the year, but I don't think he will. But that is definitely an option, potentially being there for you guys there. And then also we've got Port Adelaide, And I can basically simplify that. It's going to be Butters and also the likes of Rosie. I don't think there's a third Port Adelaide player that I like from that. So honestly, I'm looking at this going out of the top 8 defenders. Let's go top 8 defenders, top 10 midfielders, top 4 rucks, and the top 8 forwards. That's 18, 22. That's top 30 players that are averages in their line. I am genuinely going to say this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 out of the 30. And that's why this is a massive problem. And so, having said that, there's 10 out of the 30, or at least that I believe, out of the 30 on that buy round that I can genuinely get around being top of their line. So, how do we avoid it? How do we navigate it? Now, Dawson, priced at 110. Do we think that that's valuable? Do we think he's going to go above that? Or do we think he's fairly priced? Is he fairly priced? I want to have the comments here say it, if he's fairly priced or not. Because I do think he is fairly priced. But do we all think he's fairly priced? Or do we think there's some value there with Dawson for 2026? Just looking, and I hope you guys agree with me that he is fairly priced compared to all of the other options, I think, in the midfield. Dante R1, Mick Andrew R2. So I've heard nothing back on the likes of Dawson being an option, being fairly priced or not for fantasy. So I'm just going to go with it and say that he is fairly priced. And then we've got Rochelle. I think he's value at, thanks, Oliver. I think he's fairly priced. Rochelle, I think he's value in this forward line. If we just scroll down here, I think his value at 655k with the midfield role. So I think you can go there. Whether or not he stays and is there come round 12, different question. But I think he's value, so I think you start him there. Laird, do I think he is value at price at 95? And I think he is priced at 95. 93. Do we think Laird is value priced at 93? Roughly about 9th, I think, in the defenders. Do we think he is value, or do we think he's going to go 93, 94, 95 again this year, still in that half-back role? Because I think he will go around about the same price point, and that's why I think, for me, he is a sort of null and void type of player in this exercise. So that's Adelaide checked off. Sheasel, now there's a difference with value and also being a potential VC candidate, which Sheasel is potentially in this team. So Sheasel probably goes in and around his break-even point, but he's got some value being a captain. I think in the first couple rounds of the year, if we go to fixtures, upcoming, he's got the Eagles in round 2. I think we're captaining that. I think that Sheasel is a tick for value, because I think there's more than just also being value in terms of price point. I think there's captaincy value, which Sheasel has potential with, alongside Butters, and also Track and Anderson are the big captaincies, I think, in the early weeks of the year. So that makes Sheasel a value option. Cherry, I've already said my thoughts on him. I think he drops through the floor. Maybe I'm being over dramatic, reactionary to the rule changes, but I want to hear other people's thoughts on the likes of Sherry, in terms of his price point. He's priced at 105. What do people think Cherry's going to go at? Do we think he's going to go at 105 again? Do we think he's going to go up in price? Do we think he's going to go to about 100? Or do we think he's going to drop through the 90s to the mid 90s, high 90s? So what do people think that the likes of Sherry's going to go this year across the season? Because 105 for me, mid 90s, says Oliver. I think he goes to high 90s. I think he goes 98 or so, I would say. So therefore, if he's going to drop 10 points in value and probably not even be, but not even be on the top 4, top 5 racks, then what's the point of having him? So you can check him off the list, potentially almost check him off the list of notable guys anyway, depending on your viewpoint. And then we get to the likes of McKercher, who, I mean, maybe you don't start him now that you've got he's got some issues with potential with all the no preseason or whatever, with the broken thumb or whatever it was, finger, and then also potentially starting midfield. I still think there's a world in which he is value, so I check him for this exercise. Anderson and Petrarca, I think, just quickening this up, I think you can both check them. They are looking outstanding. I think Petrarca is a must-have, so you can check him. And Anderson, I'm trying hard to potentially get him into my side over the likes of the Steel. And then Port Adelaide, Butters and Rosie, I think they're must-starts as well. So you can check them off as guys that you want to potentially start. So that means that we're down to basically Rochelle, a Sheasel, a McKercher, and then also the 4 guys from Gold Coast in Anderson, Track, Butters, and Rosie. Now, if we think of it this way, Rochelle and McKercher are probably not going to be there by round 12. I think they'll be moved on to Primos. So that means that they're down to just 5 guys in Anderson, Petrarca, Butters, Rosie, Sheasel. I think you can start 4 at a max. I don't think you can start 5. So that's why I think that you can't. I think over the course of the year, when we get to round 12, you can probably have 5, but I would only be starting 4 just because I think if another guy pops on that and then you get up to 6 or you get up to 7, that's where you really are absolutely struggling. So, yeah, that's why I would go against starting 5 and probably start 4. And then that becomes a question of who do you like the least out of Sheasel, Butters, Rosie, Anderson, and Track. And Anderson almost falls into that bucket there, even though I've been talking about wanting to have him. Yeah, he probably falls into that bucket. So, yeah, I would say you can only start 5 if you include McKercher in there, and you can only start 4 if you don't include McKercher. So, yeah, that's my viewpoint there on that one. Where are we up to? Caleb Windsor, I hope in fairness you got that. We're able to scroll back and got that on my thoughts on him. Opinions on the new prizes. Not sure how the best weekly trade will work. Yeah, I don't know about that. I did see that. And let me go and find this for you guys, because I did scroll through this and I went, 182K for that Toyota Tundra seems awfully big. I won't lie, unless it's a total package that's worth 100 up to 270. So no, it is the Toyota Tundra valued at 182K. That's crazy. 20K crypto, you will always take that because yeah, you can. There's probably ways in which, even with the terms and conditions, that you can turn that almost into cash or whatever. And then 2 grand final tickets. I mean, who wouldn't want to go for grand final tickets? But I think the main point in question is this. The highest score, you take the value there with that. $560 worth of value for highest weekly score is interesting. But yeah, this crypto trade of the week awarded to 5 eligible eligible entrants who have the best trades of weeks for each round. This is determined by comparing the total fantasy points gained and total of player price changes from a user in a given round against all other eligible participants. The one thing I have about that, because that seems pretty straightforward in that it's going to be basically total points of your trade outs versus total points of your trade ins. What's the highest positive? And then I'm guessing it'll be the best 5 players will be determined by that alongside, and the tiebreaker will be I have a feeling it will be a tiebreaker, not used alongside it, will be the how much cash you gained from that trade, whether whether the players that you traded out went down in price and the players that you traded in went up in price. So yeah, that'll be ultra confusing, but if I end up getting it, I end up getting it one. I don't know how to really it's not one that you're like, oh, I'm going to plan for this one to go absolutely bananas, and do this and this and this and get it, because there's so much stuff that can go on that it's kind of probably just going to fall in someone's lap, I feel like, if they do and actually get it. And so, yeah, I do think around about that round 12, there's that potential with round 12. And this is why it's the most annoying thing. It's the first buy and it's the most annoying buy. So, yeah, just trying to limit myself to 5 or so guys, because by that time, we're probably going to also have around 18 primos anyway. So can you get 5 or 6 rookies to score well? We don't know. But we'll see how it develops, because a lot can shake out in the first sort of 5-6 weeks as well. Archie Roberts and Walsh, or Sinclair and Windhager. I would go Sinclair and Windhager. I go Archie Roberts and Walsh, even though I don't like Archie Roberts as much. I think Walsh has some value, whereas I don't know. I think Walsh has more value than Windhager, and I think Archie Roberts has some semblance of value, whereas Sinclair probably doesn't, even though Sinclair will give you some pretty good scores in the backline, I feel like. Thoughts on Josh Dunkley? I'm going to wait for his price to go down to see how he goes and get through that early buy, and then we will see from there with him, because if we look at him, and also if you wanted to join the leagues as well, I believe they're up on my Twitter account as well, a link to that. But if you wanted to, as you can see, 118 people in, we can use this code here, I believe, or I just copied there you go. That is the right code there, 18HT2BWY. That is the code to join the league there. So Josh Dunkley, I think I'm just going to wait a couple of weeks to wait for him to dip down in price after an 80 odd, was it? Or a 70 odd? It was a 73. He's going to break even at 165. He's probably going to go down 40K, 50K very, very quickly. If not, it might take him a couple of weeks to go down and really resurrect that price. Like that might be a 50 odd K, 40 odd K movement in round 1, and then another movement of another 30 or so K in round 2. So that's why I am against starting Josh Dunkley, because I think you can get him cheaper even if he goes 115 for the rest of the year. And then I kind of answered that. Josh for SuperCoach. That's probably why, because who would be starting a 73? Let's just see. Dunkley on SuperCoach 621K. He did end up scoring an 88. I think the same principle applies. It can wait a little bit. It's got a 141 break even. I suspect he's probably not going to hit that. So yeah, I have a feeling with him that I want to just wait and see how he goes. He's probably going to dip below 600K, which we know I think every single player priced above 600K went below it last year. So I think we can wait on Josh Dunkley. And then we keep on going. Yeah, Blamiers has been named to debut alongside Lockie Dolverston. I should probably actually bring up every single debutant so far named. I don't know if there's a list. Someone's got to have a list out there somewhere with regards to the debutants so far that have been named. But obviously we got Grill, we got the likes of we got Grill, we got Dolverston, we got Blamirez, we got Alaska, we got who's the other Essendon guy that's named to debut? We got Dyson Sharp as well, alongside this Essendon guy that is escaping my memory. Where is Essendon? Here we go. They have I know he's a defender, which will help a little bit. It is Congiatis. I butchered that, but you know who I'm talking about, Max Congiatis. He's named to debut as well. So yeah, a lot of guys will be named in the next 24 hours to debut, which will be really good just to fill out sides in the rookie section. And then continuing on, and then going on here, where I think he will be capped, whereas Grundy, English, Gorn could go big. This is in reference to Tristan Cherry, obviously. I just think the tackle's going to go down. I think we've seen this year so far that the secondary and third contests back-to-back stoppages, are really down. They're not there, and that's really where Tristan Cherry would feast. And there's a lot more physical running. So, and I don't think that's his strong point. So that's why I think he's a guy that will probably really struggle this year. He's going to lose a lot of tackle points. He's probably going to lose a couple of hitouts just from not being able to get to the contest as much. So that's why I would say with the likes of Tristan Cherry to avoid him to start. And then you've got here, I'm going to load up on Clark, Sarong. Which Clark is this? I just want to, there's so many. Let's see, which Clark is this? Judson? That doesn't feel right. And then Clark, I wouldn't be loading up on him. So I'm guessing that is Judson. Whatever happens, at least I get one. Which Clark are you referencing? Because I'm pretty sure Hunter Clark's injured, Justin Clark's injured, Jai Clark put up a stinker, and Angus Clark, I can't see there being value there. So I don't know which Clark you're mentioning. But yeah, Clark, Sarong. Oh, you're mentioning Freo Clark. Okay, you're mentioning about the bias here. Going to load up on Clark, Sarong, John Jackson, Young, Cozzy Pickett, Windsor, Blackston. Whatever happens, at least they get 1 to 13 out of 14 without any missed games. Yeah, and that is the thing about the early buys. These guys have to make up so much value. But I do think with there being 10 teams on the buy, rather 10 teams have played in round 0 rather than 8 that we've seen in the past, it does favour the likes of more so the likes of the early buy players, because there's less players there's more early buy players than none. And that means there's less players that actually just don't have that early buy in their fixture, which means that it's suddenly, I think, tips more in the early buys favour. Thoughts on Josh Dacos? I think there's another question here referencing Josh Dacos. I think he's just going to slow down a little. Maybe he's the guy that I'm missing. And Josh Dacos, we go here, obviously has the round 2 bye. That'll be hard coverage if we go to here and get the round 2. I can do this here and actually just get rid of you here. And then round 2, Houston, Walsh, Jagger, Bruin, and then Gallup as well for me. So if I was to go that extra defender out in Dacos and go load up on the Collingwood side, that would mean pretty tough for me, but it would be an easy swap, it feels like, from McKercher, or easier. I just think he's probably going to break out, because he probably is going to be that natural breakout guy that I miss. But it's hard to pick him because he's not going to get that midfield role. And it just feels like, I mean, we've seen it before with him have a similar-ish game. He had a massive game against the likes of the Ds, and then had a massive game against the likes of the Suns. I can just see him coming back down to earth. And maybe he does average, instead of the 95 or whatever, maybe he does average, where is it here? Let's check Josh Dacos. I think it was around the low 90s that he averaged in fantasy. Maybe instead of a 90, 94, he ends up averaging like a 96, 97. But I cannot see him taking that next step into that top echelon of defenders. That's why I probably am going to go against him. And then we got here, are people sleeping on Gorn? I don't think people are sleeping on him. I just think that they think that he will decrease in price. And I think arguably the fittest ruck and the best ruck for these ruck rules is, given that they have a stable ruck time, is Tim English. If you were to say and take out the stable ruck time, you would probably say Luke Jackson, but I would say Tim English is probably the guy that we're looking at there. That's the fittest and suits him the best. So I think with Gorn, there's been, I do think this will be a slightly down year for him. And I still think he's a massive potential to be in my side come the end of the year, if he is still going 105, 106 or so. but I can just see him dropping 5 or 6 points, and I don't want that in my starting side at the moment. So now we are an hour into this stream already. Wow, crazy how time has gone by here. An hour into this, and I think without any further questions, might leave it there for you guys. But I hope you guys did enjoy the live stream. Remember to like the live stream, and also remember to subscribe, turn the notification bell on so that you know when I upload going into this season now. And I think Ollie has one last question, so we'll wait for him to do that. But yeah, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so that you know when I do upload. There'll be a couple of videos coming out on tomorrow, just on guys that are locked in, no matter what happens with team sheets. But yeah. Ollie, I would go 230k and Sinclair. The thing is, I don't think Sharp's going to be as good as what people think he is. I think he's going to go 55, 60. I don't think he's going to be as big as is this saying no to that you already will have Bermires, or that is it basically Bermires and Sinclair, or already have him? 230k for a rookie. Let's see. 230k, you could go Selwood quite easily, unless you're talking about a midfielder. You could go, obviously, you probably have Lombard. Let's just go through here. 230ks. Get rid of these buys because I don't want them. And I want the likes of a break even. And jump to this here and go. You could easily go. There's no real 230kers that have no low break even. I don't already have. But yeah, I do think there probably will be one that pops. Let's just see ownership wise. If there's a round one guy that has good 230kers, not really anyone that I see that, to be honest with you, that's 230k other than Phoenix Gothard that could potentially work. But I think he's going to be one that probably hasn't got enough meat on the bone to do it. Newton could be another one that I've heard some really good things about so far. He got some CBAs in preseason, and we'll see if Watkin gets named, but I don't think he will. But yeah, I think you probably want to just maneuver around your team just slightly to get a better rookie player there, other than probably the best player I could say would be a Selwood in a utility position, just to make sure of that cash generation, because he is priced at a minus 43 break even. So if he goes 50 odd, he goes up 80k, then we can maneuver him on to someone else come around one. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that live stream. As I said, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so that you know when I upload in the future, and I will see you guys later. So see you guys then.